Alright, this video needs no intro because this is a turbocharged Hemi and this is a 67 Ford. We're actually going to drive it. Alright, let's see how this thing does. It does not want to move.
We are already stuck.
I know, it's just spinning the tires.
There we go. The yard's a little soft right now.
The locker works though.
And we're stuck again.
I don't know what, there's something not right here. It shouldn't be struggling this hard.
I feel like you need some weight in the bed or something. I don't know. Oh my god. Don't spray the trailer. Oh my god. I need my seatbelt tighter and you need the screen. Jesus.
Man, it died.
I don't
It
know.
is very smoky.
Yeah, it
I
is.
thought it would have cleared up by now, but it needs a lot of fuel, it seems like. It is very, very lean. Let me see this. Like, it needs a lot of fuel. Let's just try this for now. Okay, let's try this again. Now with 10% more fuel.
Oh,
Yeah, that did not feel very good.
that wasn't a good sound. Jesus.
Something doesn't feel quite right.
Yeah. Feels like it's struggling.
I think we just lost it.
I don't think you should be spinning the tires
No,
like that right
something
now.
is
Something's
very
not right.
Wrong in the back.
You're gonna break something up.
Yeah, let's pull it in and see what's going on.
Are we just hearing like noise from the trans? Like the shifter hitting something?
I don't know.
It sounds like something is loose that shouldn't be. Feels okay now. How's it feel to you?
Yeah, it's very stiff.
Do you have it learning right now or no?
Yeah, it might be running out of fuel.
You think we're low on fuel?
Yeah, I only put like 4 gallons in. Let's go ahead and some more fuel to it. Alright, let's see how this thing goes down the road. Let's do a light little jog. Just to see.
The clutch rattling? Or something different? It sounds like something rotational.
Transfer case, I think. I wonder if this transfer case is shot. And that's the problem.
Is that your typical transfer case chain dragon?
Could be.
Yeah. definitely seems like it's running a lot better.
I think this transfer case is hammered.
Sure sounds like it. You good or?
Yeah, I'm good. That is my guess. This transfer case.
Same old shit.
I don't know. These 241Ds are really solid. Except they always seem to stretch the chain really bad.
Yeah, same thing.
Well, I have a spare one. I guess I'll have to swap it out, and then we'll try this again. But it was actually starting to run better, so I guess that's promising. But I'll swap the transfer case. Well, the test drive yesterday did not go so well. And more bad news today is, yeah, I have a spare transfer case, and it's right here. But this is a 241D HD, so it has this extra PTO cover on the side, which is how I noticed it. So when I bought the NV4500 for the Ford, I somehow didn't even notice this was a DHD. It is a better transfer case. It would physically bolt in, but the rear output is about an inch longer compared to the transfer case that's in here, which with that rear shaft angle, I don't really want to take another inch out of it. I don't know. This would go in, it would be an upgrade, but I don't know if dropping that pinion angle even worse, or shortening that rear shaft and making it even steeper is really what I want to do. I just drained the fluid out of the transfer case that's in the truck, and it had fluid. It's still bright red and clear, nothing on the drain plug, but I mean, we drove it maybe 2 miles, so I guess it'd be real bad if it had metal shavings. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I could go to the junkyard and pull another 241 DLD that's in it and just do a straight swap, or I could put this in. I don't know. But on the other side of that, you probably noticed this thing was really, really smoky, and I was kind of just ignoring it, thinking it would burn off, but started to realize it's not going to burn off because it's still going. So I've got oil, like under the downpipe there. I've got oil coming out of the up pipe. So I don't know what is going on here. I mean, there's oil on the valve cover. So yeah, I think this is what I'm going to figure out first. Hopefully it's just the turbo and not something internally, like I screwed a ring up and it's just a ton of oil coming up the cylinder. But I don't know. I don't know what's the better thing here. So I'm going to tear into this and try to take this, probably pull the turbo, make sure the drain line's not plugged, make sure there's oil up to it. I mean, there's definitely a ton of oil in the exhaust, which also, how is it getting outside the exhaust? That's another problem. Guessing I got some holes in my welds. Yeah, but let me pull this turbo off and see what this looks like, because this is a big problem too. Okay, so the turbo's off. I pulled the drain line off the pan and I got oil out of it, so I know the drain line is good. But if you look in the exhaust here, I mean, you can see it is coated down there in oil. And then if you look up here in the up pipe, there's a little bit, but not much. So that leads me, let me see if I can zoom in there. Oh yeah, there you go. Look at that. I mean, it is puddled down in there. So that leads me to believe I have a bad turbo seal, because the up pipes are pretty clean. The down pipe is just filthy. So that's good news, I guess. It seems to me that the motor isn't totally shot, but I guess I'm gonna have to open this turbo up and take a look. So I got the turbo apart, and here is what I have found. That's all metal shavings in here. And my best guess is I didn't clean the exhaust well enough when I built it. So there's metal shavings there. And then if you look here, you can see there's definitely oil around here. So I think it was leaking oil past here. And then on the shaft here, these, zoom in here. These bearings, you can see they're kind of tore up a little bit. But that ring there, that kind of oil seal right in the middle where you can see it split there, that thing had rust on it. So I don't know what the hell that was. I mean, the metal shavings, I would say, were probably my fault. The rust, I don't know. Not really sure. This might have been a few things. So I cleaned it all up. You'd see that bearing is not the greatest, but it's not terrible. So I'm going to put it back together. I cleaned this up. I'm going to clean the oil off of this. And then there's actually a little shield here that sits kind of right over this. And you can see that thing had oil on it, and on the back it was spraying oil too. So, I mean, there was definitely oil coming around here, and all that metal on the other one was out here. So, yeah, I'm guessing that was my problem. I'm going to put it back together with it all clean and see if maybe it's okay, but yeah, I don't know. So I put the turbo back together, cleaned it all up, fired it up, and it was not very smoky at first, and then it started getting pretty smoky, as you can see. You know, it's all smoked up. So I tore the turbo down again. I took it back off, and it doesn't look bad. Like, it's not really, you know, there's a little bit of oil on there, but it's not totally coated. So okay, so if it's not the turbo, then what the hell is it? So then I pulled the merge pipe, and in this merge pipe here, if you look at this, that looks perfect. You know, carboned up, but dry as hell. So that's the passenger side. The driver's side, okay, so there's our problem. That's very, very wet, and that's clearly something coming from there. So I went and I pulled the plugs out of the driver's side, and that fell. So here, plug out of number one, brand new, like never even been run. Here's the other plug, same thing, which is kind of weird, but so here's the one out of number three, if it'll focus on it. Oh, so that looks normal. That's what you'd expect of an engine that's been running. Here's number five, kind of the same thing again. So that's weird. Here's number seven, exactly what you'd expect. So I don't know what the hell this is. Like, how do these plugs look brand new? I thought one of these was going to be covered in oil. I'm honestly at a loss. Like, I don't know, maybe that's just raw fuel running through number one? I have no idea. Well, I thought maybe the clean number one plugs would be blown head gasket, but here's the leak down test, and yeah, it's not bad at all. It's like 9% leakage, so well, I think this shows it pretty clearly. That one is all wet and oily. Those are all dry. So, yeah, I don't know what I did, but somehow I messed number one up. Now you can see even where it dries out going down. So, I don't know if I messed the rings up or what, but something I did with number one. It's not sealing. I did a leak down test on the other cylinders, and 3, 5, and 7 are all like 2 to 4% leakage. Number one was like 9 or 10%. So it was good, but not as good as the others once I tested them. So pulled that manifold, and yep, looks like I'm gonna have to pull the head, and I'm guessing probably pop that piston out and see what I screwed up. That sucks. Alright, so new day. And with that comes some clarity on why only number one on this thing has an oil sealing issue. And I was thinking about it today, and you know, I broke that one ring and it was on number one. And I thought, oh man, maybe I messed that up. So I was kind of jumping back and forth. And I know what the problem is now, and it is 100% my fault. I broke that ring, and I even said in that video when I got the new rings, this ring pack is thinner. And I thought, well, that's just the way it is. I didn't bother to actually look that up or to even see if that was right, because if I had, I would have figured out it wasn't right. I somehow ordered rings for an 09 Plus Hemi, which is the updated Eagle Hemi, which apparently runs thinner rings. So basically, my second ring on number one, the oil scraper ring, is too thin for this motor, which makes a lot of sense why number one has good leak down because the compression ring is right. Because I only swapped literally one ring in the entire motor, and it's on that one. So I am like 99% sure that's why I have an oil consumption issue on number one. I just happened to go back and look at Summer Racing, look at the parts I ordered, and yep, 09 plus. So I don't know how I did that. Really dumb. The dumber part was realizing that, hey, these are different and not looking into why they're different, just running them. That was, I was in a rush. That's all it was. And when you're in a rush, you don't always think straight. So I've got a single cylinder ring pack on order for an '03 to '08 Hemi. So that should be the right one. But that means I got to pull the driver's head back off. I got to pull the pan off and pull that rod cap off and pull that whole piston out. If I got lucky, it didn't mess up the cylinder bore. I think I'm probably okay there, but I got to pull it and look. But I got a new head gasket on order, a new ring pack for one cylinder, and fresh oil. But yeah, I get to pull the head off already, so that's really cool. But I'm gonna do that, make sure everything's good, and then just wait on parts. And we'll put that back together. But yeah, this was my fault. Didn't have time to do it right, so I could do it twice. Got her all torn down, and good news is that cylinder looks good. I don't see any kind of weird wear or anything. So I think I'm all good there. I got lucky. So now I just gotta wait to get the new ring pack for that cylinder, new head gasket, and slap it all back together, throw some new oil in it. So that's good. Now I think I'm gonna move on to the rear suspension, because this thing rode like a brick in the rear. It was way stiffer than what I wanted, and it's sitting a little high. So I think I'm going to tear in here and take a leaf out of it to try to soften it up a little bit and see what that does for my rear drive shaft angle, and then figure out what to do with the transfer case, because I might as well keep working while I'm waiting for that ring pack. Okay, so back here we've got 4 leaves in the pack. We have the main leaf here, and then we have 2 more that are part of the main leaf. And then we have down here is called a reaction leaf. As you can see, it stops here, and it goes out to about right here in the back. It's not part of the main spring pack. So what it does, as the axle comes up, these leaves actually lay down on here, and it makes them stiffer. Because if you look at the thickness here in the middle, that bottom leaf is a lot thicker and a lot stiffer than the other springs, the other leaves. So what I'm going to do is, it'll take a lot of the progressive rate out of the rear, which I don't really want to do, but I think that's going to make the biggest difference for ride quality, is to knock out this reaction leaf, and it's going to lower the back of the truck about 3/4 of an inch, which I really want, because it was just sitting a little too high. I wanted an 1.5 inch block. I couldn't find one, so I ended up going with a 2. So I think for now, this is going to be our best bet. If I don't like this, maybe down the road I'll have to have some custom leaves made for it with rates I want. I think the rear end of this truck is a lot lighter than I really thought it was. So I'll pop the spring pack apart, remove this from both sides, put it all back together. That'll lower the truck, should soften the truck a lot, and we'll go from there. It's kind of trial and error when you don't know the rate on these and you don't know the weight of the truck. The weight of the truck I can find out, but I don't know what these spring rates are. So if I don't like it down the road, I can cobble something together or get something made. But we're going to do that for now just to see how it does. Should be pretty quick. Pulled the leaves out of both sides. You can see it laying there, and boom. Looks way better. It's not so ass high now. So that really, I think that was what it needed. We'll see how much softer it is, but it definitely looks a lot better. So I'm really happy with that. And I think with this transfer case here, the plan is going to be to just put it in. So I'll take 1 inch out of the rear drive shaft. I just measured the front drive shaft. The one I have looks like it'll work with this transfer case, even though it's back 1 inch. So I think everything's going to work out. And just because I have it, and I don't want to wait, we're going to shove this 241 DHD in here. Heavier chain, probably not a bad thing. A little bit harder to get parts for, but we're going to do it because I got the time, because I am still waiting on these parts. So yeah, might as well get everything else buttoned up while I fix this mess up. Alright guys, I'm going to be honest. This thing is kicking my ass hardcore. And it's really frustrating. I got the fresh rings in yesterday, so I stayed up late last night and pulled number 1 out and put the new ring in, put it back in, torqued the rod down, put the pan back on, everything. Came up top, fresh head gasket, put the head in, torqued the head down, whole exhaust back on, turbo. I mean, it's done. Like, it's ready to go. So last night I dumped 6 quarts of fresh oil in it. And I'm like, I should probably add some water. So I start dumping water in, and I get about 2 gallons in, and it starts pouring out the side. Like, gushing out the side from the head gasket. So I don't know what I did. I screwed something up. The only thing I can think is something fell because it's kind of tight to get the head in here. Something must have fallen on the head gasket, and it's just holding the head off the block. Like there's no way a head gasket can leak that much normally. So I have to tear this thing back down, take the driver head back off it, and just figure out what I did wrong. I don't think I've had a project fight me this much and kick my ass this much. And it's been a lot of little stuff that I've done. It's been on me, which sucks, but still there's nothing I can do except tear it down and just fix it. But man, this is frustrating. I should have been cruising this thing around for a while already. And instead, I keep shooting myself in the foot and screwing things up. So let me tear the head back off and see what I messed up this time. So I must have been really, really tired last night because that is definitely upside down. And if you look back there, right in the corner, it says top very clearly upside down. Like Cometic could not have made this more foolproof, and I was too much of a fool for him. But even here, if you look, like right there above that stud, those don't even line up. Like, God, I think I was tired and frustrated, and I should have gave up, but I kept pushing through and rushed it. And this is what happens. I get to do things twice because I didn't take the time the first time. But it's frustrating, but definitely my fault. So I'm going to have to pay more attention now. But luckily, the head gaskets are reusable. If they're not heat cycled, Cometic says go ahead and reuse them. So never got a chance to fire this thing up. So just flip that head gasket around, clean everything back up, and put it all back together again. So my fault. But hey, you live and learn. Do it. Hopefully don't do it twice. Alright, so this thing's back together again for I don't know what time. And I put water in it and oil in it and it didn't leak out. So we're doing better than last time. But I've got it all together. I hope it's right. The new ring's in, the head gasket's on the right way, everything's full. So hopefully it's not going to smoke. It's definitely going to smoke when I start it because there's still oil in the exhaust. There's probably oil in the cylinders from all that crap. And it's really humid right now. So it's going to start smoky. The test will be whether it starts to clear up or it gets more smoky. Because before, as it warmed up, it just started using more and more oil. So I'm going to start it. Hopefully everything sounds good, looks good, and it should get less smoky. If not, I don't know, because it's really annoying. So let me try it.
It doesn't sound the best. Like, it sounds like there's a knocking or something.
I hear it, it's ticking. Okay. I think this is the lifters again. I don't know what it is. It's definitely missing really bad. It's definitely making a bunch of noise. Well, that'll do it. Popped an intake push rod out, so I'll pull the intake rockers off, take a look, make sure nothing's messed up. But that'll cause a miss in that tapping, so time to pull it apart. Well, it's still pretty smoky, but it's not getting worse. It's not billowing, and honestly, it smells a lot like fuel right now. So there's still a ton of oil in that exhaust. And just by the fact that it warmed up and it cycled the T-stat like 2 or 3 times already, and it hasn't started billowing smoke like it did before, I think we've got the oil control issue fixed. And I think a lot of this is just fuel. I might have some exhaust leaks I think are faking it out, and it's a little rich at idle, but we're gonna take it for a quick spin just to see, because I gotta drive it. I've had this thing apart so many times now. I just want to take it for a quick drive. So I mean, it's dark out, it's another late night, but we're gonna take it for a quick spin, see what happens. Sorry it's kind of dark, but we want to drive it, and this is the only time we had, so I think there's something wrong with the rear. It seems like it's really dragging. This thing like doesn't want to push, but
What was that?
I think a rock's coming out. Must be the trans that makes noise.
Yeah, it must be.
That sucks. Well, good thing I've already rebuilt an MV 4500 once.
That is true. That does not sound good at all.
No, it doesn't. It sounds very, very broken.
Sounds very angry.
Very, very broken.
Oh, that is loud.
Is it?
Yes, very loud.
Doesn't seem that loud.
Really?
No?
I think you need to get your hearing checked.
It's very slow to spool. I'm gonna have to figure that out too.
Oh, I didn't mean the. Yeah, I meant the trans.
Oh,
what
I
is-
thought you meant the exhaust.
No.
I'm like, no, the exhaust doesn't seem that loud.
Something seems very clunky.
Yeah, I think it's the trans.
Don't hit whatever that. Oh, it's just a brand. Never mind.
Okay, well, that was fun. I guess this truck's just gonna be. This truck is gonna be not on the road very quickly, so.
At least we made it back. I really did not want to have to push.
That is true.
Ooh.
All right, well, yeah. It's not smoking, so yay, we fixed that. Yeah, so the motor's good now. Now I just need to fix the trans. So yeah, if it's not one thing, it's another, it seems like, but we did get to drive it. The motor is fixed after that whole giant debacle of me screwing it up, I don't know, a half dozen different times. Because I mean, just to put that rocker shaft back on today when that push rod popped out, that took me like an hour and a half because it kept falling out. So this thing's fighting me, but we'll get it. We'll get it. Guess we're pulling a trans next time we work on this thing.